On a crisp Friday evening, the entire town of Millfield gathered under the glowing lights of Patterson Stadium to witness the most anticipated game of the season, the Millfield Falcons versus the Grantville Chargers. In a locker room, 17-year-old African-American quarterback Jamal Evans sat quietly with his eyes closed. He wasn't focused on plays or passes. His mind was on his mother, who worked double shifts to support his football dreams, and his younger brother, who battled asthma. This game was more than just a match for Jamal. It was a gateway to a brighter future. He adjusted the wristband embroidered with his late father's name, a man who had died in prison when Jamal was only 6. The town whispered about it, some using it to doubt him, but Jamal transformed their skepticism into determination. Across the field, the Grantville Chargers exuded confidence. Their quarterback, Blake Turner, was the epitome of privilege, tall, white, blue-eyed, with a lineage of wealth and influence. His father owned a chain of car dealerships, and his mother was a prominent figure on the school board. Blake drove a sleek red Mustang and was already being hailed as the next big thing in football. However, beneath his polished exterior lay a mean streak, especially evident when facing players like Jamal. As the teams lined up for kickoff, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Jamal felt the weight of the town's expectations. Coach Reynolds placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Keep your head clear, Evans. Let your game do the talking." The first quarter was challenging. Grantville quickly secured a touchdown, their aggressive play style on full display. Every incomplete pass from Jamal was met with taunts from Blake. "Think someone from East Side can lead a team?" Blake sneered. "They must be desperate." Jamal clenched his jaw, choosing silence over retaliation. In the second quarter, Jamal found his rhythm. He evaded defenders, delivered precise passes, and even rushed for a 40-yard gain. The crowd's hope was rekindled. Meanwhile, Blake grew frustrated. After one play where Jamal sprinted past him to score, Blake confronted him. "You people don't belong here," he muttered. The words cut deep, but Jamal remained composed. At halftime, with the score tied, the Falcons' locker room buzzed with energy. Jamal, however, sat in contemplative silence. "I'm tired of this," he murmured. "Win, and it's luck. Lose, and we don't belong." Coach Reynolds knelt beside him. "You're right, Jamal, but you have something they don't, a fire that can't be extinguished. Go out there and prove them wrong." Determined, Jamal nodded. "Tonight, I dominate." The third quarter saw Jamal unleash his full potential. He threw consecutive touchdowns, maneuvered past defenders with agility, and played with a passion that electrified the stadium. Blake, on the other hand, unraveled. His throws became erratic, and discord grew among his teammates. After one particularly dazzling play by Jamal, Blake's frustration boiled over. He shoved Jamal after the whistle. Jamal turned, calm and resolute. "Scoreboard," he said simply. The referee's whistle blew. "Unsportsmanlike conduct. Turner, you're out." The crowd gasped as Blake was ejected. Jamal returned to his team, eyes burning with determination. In the fourth quarter, Jamal shattered the school's rushing record. Scouts in the stands took notice, and his mother wept tears of pride. When the final whistle blew, the Falcons triumphed 34-21. The field erupted as fans stormed to celebrate. Reporters clamored for Jamal, but he had another priority. He approached Blake, who sat dejected on the bench. "I hope you figure out who you are," Jamal said, meeting his gaze. "Tonight, you met the real me." With that, he walked away. Back in the locker room, amidst the celebrations, Jamal took a moment for himself. He reflected on his father's legacy, his mother's sacrifices, and the relentless struggle to prove himself. Tonight, he hadn't just played, he had risen above. The victory resonated throughout Millfield. Jamal became a local hero overnight. Social media buzzed with his highlights, and college scouts inundated Coach Reynolds with inquiries. Yet, sleep eluded Jamal. Blake's words haunted him. Was there more to Blake's animosity? The next day, while reviewing game footage in the gym, the door creaked open. Ms. Clara, the school's janitor, entered. A wise, observant woman, she had seen generations pass through the school's halls. "That boy you played last night, Blake Turner, she began. Ever wonder why he hates you so much? Jamal looked up, curiosity piqued. It's obvious, isn't it? I'm black, I'm better, and I don't come from money. MS. Clara shook her head. No, child. It's deeper than that. Let me tell you a story. Years before Jamal was born, Blake's father, Richard Turner, was a young deputy in Millfield. Jamal's father, Marcus Evans, was a rising football star with a promising future. One night, Marcus was pulled over for a minor infraction. What followed was a contentious arrest. Richard claimed Marcus resisted. Witnesses told a different story. Regardless, Marcus was convicted on dubious charges, losing his scholarship and future. He died in prison, his potential unfulfilled. Jamal sat in stunned silence. You're saying Blake's dad did that to mine? MS. Clara nodded. And now his son's carrying the same hate. But you, Jamal, you're changing the narrative. Jamal's hands trembled. Why didn't anyone tell me? In towns like this, truth can be dangerous. But your talent, your spirit, it's making people listen. News of Blake's outburst spread beyond Millfield. Videos capturing his racial slurs went viral. The Turners tried to contain the fallout, but the damage was done. The school board convened to decide Blake's fate. Jamal felt a pull to attend, understanding this was bigger than football. At the meeting, Jamal stood before the board. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for truth. He turned to Blake. Your son didn't just break rules on the field. He carried forward a legacy of hate. But I won't fight with fists or slurs. I fight with my game, and I've already won. The room erupted in applause. The board's decision was unanimous. Blake Turner was suspended for the season. Days later, Coach Reynolds called Jamal into his office. Someone wants to talk to you, he said, grinning. Jamal picked up the phone. Jamal, this is Coach Parker from Ohio State. We watch your game and, more importantly, how you carry yourself. We'd like to offer you a full scholarship. Overwhelmed, Jamal shouted in joy. That night, as he walked home under the stars, he felt a profound sense of purpose. At home, his mother embraced him, tears of happiness streaming down her face. You did it, baby, she whispered. Jamal looked around their modest home. I'm going to get us out of here, Ma. All of us. Before leaving for college, Jamal played one last home game under the Friday night lights of Patterson Stadium. This time, the stands weren't just filled with fans, they were packed with believers. Neighbors who had once whispered about his father now stood and cheered his name. Former critics waved signs with his jersey number. Even the mayor was there, shaking hands, giving speeches. But Jamal wasn't chasing attention. He was chasing closure. As he jogged onto the field, a hush fell over the crowd, not out of silence, but out of reverence. Jamal Evans wasn't just a football player tonight. He was a symbol of what it meant to rise, to endure, and to change the game both on and off the field. And he played like it. He ran, passed, dodged, and danced like the field belonged to him, because in a way it did. He scored twice, assisted 3 more, and led the Falcons to a crushing 42-10 win that night. But it wasn't the score that mattered. It was the weight he left behind. For the first time in a long time, he felt free. After the final whistle, he knelt at the 50-yard line, touched the patch on his wristband with his father's name, and whispered, "We did it, Pops." In the weeks that followed, Jamal became a local legend. Newspapers across the state ran headlines like, "From Shadows to Spotlight, Jamal Evans' Rise to Glory." His phone buzzed with interviews, endorsement offers, and campus invites. But Jamal stayed grounded. His mother still worked 2 shifts a day, his little brother still took breathing treatments, and the walls of their apartment still chipped paint. Then, one day, an envelope arrived. No name, no return address, just his name scribbled in pen. Inside, there was an old photograph. 2 young men, both in football gear, one black, one white, smiling with arms around each other. On the back, it read, "Maka va vitat 1992." Before the hate, before the lies. We were brothers too. I'm sorry. Richard. Jamal stared at it for a long time. Long enough for the silence to feel like thunder in his chest. He didn't know what to feel. Part of him wanted to tear it in half. Another part wanted to believe it. And somewhere, deep down, he felt a flicker of something else, forgiveness. Not for Richard Turner, not even for Blake, but for himself. Because if he carried the weight of the past forever, he'd never outrun it. And so he folded the photo gently, placed it in his drawer, and walked outside into the sunlight. As he prepared to leave for Ohio State, the town held a send-off parade. Kids wore Falcons jerseys with his number. Storefronts painted "Good luck, Jamal" on their windows. The mayor gave him a key to the city, but it was his mother's quiet tears that meant more than any trophy or scholarship. At the bus station, his little brother handed him a hand-drawn card. On the cover was a stick figure wearing a football helmet with Jamal number 7 scrawled in crayon. Inside it read, "You're not just my big brother. You're my hero." Jamal hugged him so tight the boy squeaked. The ride to Ohio State was quiet. No music, no phone, just the hum of the engine and the road stretching ahead. When the campus came into view, towering and alive with opportunity, Jamal felt it. Not pressure, but possibility. Orientation week passed in a blur. Practices were intense, the coaches demanding. The talent pool was deeper than anything he'd ever experienced. But Jamal wasn't intimidated. He'd been facing impossible odds his whole life. And then came his first college game. He didn't start. Freshmen rarely did. But midway through the third quarter, with the team struggling and the coach out of options, the call came, "Evans, you're in." Helmet on, heart racing, eyes clear. He took the field, the stadium roaring. First play, a 20-yard pass. Second play, a quarterback rush for 15. The third play, touchdown. The crowd exploded. Commentators scrambled for words. This kid from Millfield just lit the place on fire. In the locker room after the game, Coach Parker pulled him aside. "You didn't just earn playing time today," he said, smiling. "You earned respect." That night, back in his dorm room, Jamal finally allowed himself to exhale. He looked at the photo of his dad beside his bed, beside the wristband he still wore, now a little frayed at the edges. And he whispered again, "We're just getting started." Jamal Evans wasn't just a quarterback anymore. He was the start of something bigger, a new legacy.